All it takes is one great idea. Just one simple little sentence, one little notion can transform your life. That's the idea behind this called Everyday Wisdom. If you can pick up one idea and motivate yourself to a new level, success, happiness, fulfillment in your life, this will be worth everything that you paid for it. If you can motivate yourself, you can use any one of these ideas as an affirmation for something that's going to change and work dramatically and powerfully in your own life.
The people that see dreams come to pass are the people that stay committed. I've heard it said, on the road to your destiny, halfway through, every person will be tempted to give up. Some turn around and go back. The others stay committed and keep moving forward. What's interesting is both people travel the same distance. One goes halfway back to where they started. The other goes halfway ahead and reach their goal. Committed people outlast the difficulty. Committed people stick with a relationship even though they have a right to walk away. Committed people go the extra mile and do more than they have to. Is there an area you've been tempted to give up in or just slack off, not be your best? God is saying, stay committed. Stay faithful, stay loyal. Committed people reach the fullness of their destinies.
Decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, and they are, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it, and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. Learn from it. That's the key.
Promise yourself you'll read the books until your skills change. You'll go to seminars until you get a handle on it. You'll listen to it until it makes sense. You'll go for it until you understand it. You'll practice it until you develop a skill. Never give up until, however long that is, step by step, piece by piece, book by book, word by word, apple by apple. Walk around the block, walk around the block. Go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow. And resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, become.
Commitment is the key. The moment that you commit yourself, then all unforeseen incidents, people, things that can happen that are positive begin to come your way. And basically the whole thought was the fact that nothing comes to you until you commit yourself. Nothing comes to you if you're just going to try, but you're not committed. Nothing comes to you if you're just thinking about it. It's not until you take the action step. It's not until you take the direction do the things start to flow through you.
When things are really tough in life, when people are really stressed out, they've had some type of traumatic event, whether it's the loss of the job, the pandemic, whatever it may be, how can people use their mind to then push past pain? Or is that not something we should be thinking about, pushing past pain? But how do we use the mind under some type of traumatic experience for our benefit?
Okay. It's an excellent...
Easy question to start.
It's an excellent question. It has a couple different answers because there are a couple different categories depending on what people are dealing with.
Right.
So I think all trauma, anxiety, fears, they all map back to stress in some way. Now, you can have stress without trauma, you can have anxiety without trauma, but you can't really have trauma without stress and anxiety. So even though there aren't really strict definitions of the boundaries between trauma and stress and fear, I think it's fair to say that trauma is a fear and or stress response that's happening at the wrong times. Right? It's sort of carrying over from an experience that's making life uncomfortable or in some cases exceedingly challenging.
For example?
So someone has a sexual assault. Somebody sees a car accident or is in a car accident. Veterans come back from overseas. There's kind of first person trauma where something happens to somebody, and then there's kind of third person trauma where somebody sees something terrible happen. There's grief. And so there are a lot of categories. And so we don't want to complicate the landscape and the answer, but I think it's important for people to understand that the stress response is at the core of all of this. And when we talk about stress, I think it's also important that we divide that into two kinds of stress because it defines the two approaches that people can take to combat stress, fear, anxiety.
What are the two types of stress?
Okay, the two types of stress are the one is the one we're almost all familiar with, because when we hear stress, we think pupils dilating, hands shaking, heart beating, oh my goodness, or really upset, you're stuck in traffic, something is really bothering you, you're angry, you're having the fight or flight response that, that phrase gets thrown around a lot. And in those circumstances, it's very important that people take control of their mind and their body in a way that allows themselves to calm down, to reduce the so-called stress response. And we can talk about tools to do that are very concrete and that are very reliable.
You have the knowledge and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
One day, you're going to realize your life is yours, and there's a lot of people important to you that surround it, but ultimately it's yours.
Then you must decide where you want to invest this life. Invest in something worthwhile.
You have to picture yourself there. Wherever it is, you've got to picture yourself there. All right, the next step is you've got to believe it.
Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream as we run toward it, as we work on it day in and day out.
They were going to make a change, and then they made it.
This is your moment. It's not tomorrow. It's not next year. It's not when you're going to graduate. It's right here, right now. And every choice you make, you're impacting that thing.
We're going to be lions. You know, when a lion is injured, when a lion is bleeding, he licks his wounds and he keeps walking.
Your time is one of the most powerful tools you will ever have.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will be like a shark. You will think like a shark. And you can't go backwards. And if you stop swimming, you will die. If life knocks you down, try and land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. This is the year of the what? Act like you hear me. This is the year of the what? This is the year of the what? Act like it.
The moment and the time for you to change your life is now.
Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
You choose what you're looking for, because what you look for, you find. That's how life works.
Make good choices, great things happen. But you've got to believe in you. So believe.
Why is it that we don't believe in ourselves? That as soon as things get tough in our lives, we start doubting ourselves. We start thinking that we're not going to make it, stressing, worrying, imagining things that may go wrong in the future. We need to understand the human mind is the most powerful tool we own, but it can also be the most destructive. And we need to learn how to take control of the direction of our mind and our emotions.